Hi and welcome to a new episode of your weekly medical TV show on Alkarma TV, White Coat. As a continuation to our campaign about wellness, and part of it is vision health, today we will talk about the most common refractive error in the eye, which is myopia or nearsightedness. Myopia or nearsightedness has become more prevalent in the recent years. In fact, in most recent studies for the National Eye Institute has shown that myopia increased tremendously from 25% prevalence in 1972 to 42% prevalence in 2014. In a country like the United States of America, for example, if you are nearsightedness, you typically will have difficulty reading the road signs and seeing distant objects clearly. But you will be able to see well for close-up tasks such as reading and computer use. It's my pleasure today to host one of the outstanding optometrists in Southern California, Dr. Matthew Wang, to talk to us about this medical problem and the possible causes for it, and we will talk about the different and the most recent lines of treatment. As you know by now, for interaction with the program, you can send in all your questions and concerns to our official Facebook page, White Coat Alkarma TV, or if you want to interact directly with my guest today regarding that topic, you can call the numbers that will be shown on the screen at any time during the episode. أعزائي مشاهدي قنوات الكرمة في كل مكان في العالم، أعزائي مشاهدي برنامج وايت كوت، بحب أرحب بيكم في حلقة جديدة من البرنامج. والحقيقة حلقة النهاردة هتبقى استكمال لحلقة الصحة العامة اللي احنا ابتديناها مع حضراتكم من 3-4 شهور، وتحديدا حطينا جزء فيها عن صحة النظر أو صحة الإبصار أو صحة العين، وعملنا قبل كده حلقة تقريبا عدينا فيها على كل مشاكل ضعف الإبصار، وقلنا لحضراتكم هنخصص حلقة عن كل مشكلة، لأنه تقريبا كل مشكلة في قطاع كبير من الناس بيعانوا منها. الحقيقة المشكلة النهاردة أو أول مشكلة هنتكلم عليها في الكامبين بتاعتنا أو الحملة اللي احنا عاملينها عن صحة النظر، النهاردة هتكون أول حلقة فيها، وهنتكلم على قصر النظر. الحقيقة قصر النظر هو أكتر موضوع أو أكتر مرض بيعاني منه الناس في أمراض الإبصار أو أمراض العيون بشكل عام، والإحصائيات كمان بتأكد ده. في دولة زي الولايات المتحدة الأمريكية على سبيل المثال في سنة 1972 لما عملوا إحصائيات بيشوفوا مين الناس اللي بيعانوا من قصر النظر، يعني تقريبا لقوا 25% من السكان بيعانوا من مشكلة قصر النظر، يعني تقريبا 1 من كل 4. الإحصائيات الجديدة اللي اتعملت تقريبا بعد حوالي 40 سنة من ده، سنة 2014 لقوا إنه 42% من السكان الولايات المتحدة بيعانوا من مشاكل قصر النظر. طبعا زيادة فظيعة جدا. كتير من الأطباء قالوا إنه ممكن معظمها يبقى سبب جيني، كتير قالوا إن التكنولوجي الجديدة والسكرينز بقت كل حياتنا عبارة عن شوية سكرينز، شاشات بنبص عليها سواء كمبيوتر، ايباد، تليفونات، كل ده جزء كبير من المشكلة. ولكن لما نشوف زي ما قلت دولة زي الولايات المتحدة الأمريكية 42% بيعانوا من قصر النظر، تقريبا واحد من داخلين على نسبة 1 لكل 2. مشكلة كبيرة جدا، مشكلة كبيرة جدا كمان في الأطفال. النهاردة هنناقش المشكلة دي، ايه مسبباتها، ايه المشاكل اللي بتحصل في النظر، ايه الحاجات اللي بتيجي معاها، واهم من ده كله الجزء اللي انا بحبه جدا، اهم مما نقعد نتكلم على المشكلة ونفهم حضراتكم طبيعتها، لانه ده مهم ان احنا نتكلم على طرق العلاج. النهاردة هنتكلم على احدث طرق العلاج اللي موجودة في العالم لعلاج مشاكل قصر النظر بشكل عام. هنتكلم على جزء كبير منها اللي هو حضراتكم زي ما حضراتكم عارفين النظارات. هنتكلم على الليزك اللي ناس كتير جدا لما حطينا الاد على الفيسبوك ناس كتير جدا بعتت تسألنا على الليزك سيرجري. هنتكلم على احدث تكنيك في العالم كله الناس بتستخدمه، تكنيك بيغير شوية شكل الكورنيا عن طريق انه بيحط عدسة صلبة من بره من الكورنيا، وده تقريبا احدث تكنيك في العالم كله، الاورثوكيراتوبلاستي. هنتكلم عليه النهارده، والحقيقه بيسعدني ويشرفني انه يكون معايا واحد من احسن الناس، هو تخصصه الاساسي هو قصر النظر، واحد من افضل دكاتره العيون الموجودين في جنوب كاليفورنيا، دكتور ماثيو وانج. هيكلمنا عن الموضوع ده، وهنستقبل كل اسئله حضراتكم سواء على الفيسبوك زي ما حضراتكم عارفين دلوقتي، تقدروا تبعتوا لنا كل اسئلتكم اللي انتوا عايزينها على صفحتنا الرئيسيه زي ما ظاهره قدامكم على الشاشه على الفيسبوك، وايت كوت الكرمة تي في. ابعتوا لنا كل أسئلتكم عن مشاكل قصر النظر وطرق العلاج. هنتكلم كمان مين يبقى جود كانديديت لإيه، مين يبقى نقدر نعمل له نظارة بس، مين نقدر نعمل له ليزك سيرجري ويبقى مناسب بالنسبة له، مين نقدر نستخدم التكنيك الجديد الأورثوكيراتوبلاستي معاه ويجيب نتائج كويسة. قصر النظر في الأطفال، ازاي نعلم أطفالنا ان هم يذاكروا أو يبصوا على السكرينز بالطريقة الصح، لأنه ده كله مهم جدا. حلقة النهاردة إن شاء الله تبقى حلقة مهمة جدا وتساعد حضراتكم بشكل كبير على فهم المشكلة دي، ونكلم حضراتكم على أحدث طرق العلاج اللي موجودة في العالم. متحمس جدا للحلقة دي، ويلا بينا نبتدي حلقتنا النهاردة من برنامجكم الطبي الأسبوعي على شاشات قنوات الكرمة وايت كوت.
Are you tired of being overweight? Do you suffer from diabetes? Do you suffer from hypertension? Do you suffer from obstructive sleep apnea? Do you suffer from hypercholesterolemia? Have you suffered from heart attacks in the past? Strokes in the past? Are you tired of being ostracized in public? Well, I have a solution for you. Robotic bariatric surgery. This can completely change your life. I'm Dr. Bobby Baskerau. I'm a robotic bariatric surgeon. I do robotic weight loss surgery, which can completely change your life. I offer 3 different types of surgeries that can completely change your life: the sleeve gastrectomy, the lap band, and the Roux-en-Y gastric bypass. One thing that's very unique about our program is that we have a dietitian, and you will get counseled on what to eat, what not to eat, and how to optimize the utilization of your tool for good weight loss.
من غير صلاتك ودعمك ما كناش أنتجنا كل البرامج دي. محتاجين لمشاركتك لاستمرار الإنتاج.
Hi, I'm Dr. Matthew Wang. I am an optometrist. I'm a native to Southern California, born and raised here. I attended Whittier College for my undergraduate degree in chemistry and music, and then I attended the Southern California College of Optometry in Fullerton. I graduated with my doctorate of optometry in 2003. So since then, I've been in private practice in Irvine mostly, and then recently in Dana Point, so in Orange County, since about 2004. And my practice that I share with Dr. Stephen Wang is a general practice, and I have a specific emphasis in orthokeratology and myopia control. So I've kind of wanted to be an optometrist ever since I was pretty young. We have some good friends from church who are optometrists who modeled pretty well that you could have a great career that didn't consume your entire life and have time to do other things outside your job as well. And with an interest in science, I decided probably around 7th grade I'd like to go ahead and try it out, and that brings me pretty much to where I am right now. Outside the practice, I have a wife and 3 kids, and they are great supporters of me because I'm often busy at work. When we have a chance, we love to travel, we love to camp as a family, hiking, seeing national parks around the area, and taking part in the kids' sports and music activities. And stay tuned for me on White Coat on Alkarma TV.
اهلا بحضراتكم مره تانية في الجزء الرئيسي من حلقتنا النهارده اللي هنتكلم فيه زي ما انا قلت عن اكتر مشكله بتحصل في مشاكل النظر كلها، وهي قصر النظر. زي ما انا قلت ابتدينا الكامبين او الحمله بتاعتنا عن صحه النظر من تقريبا حلقتين ثلاثه، وقلنا يمكن هنعمل حلقه واحده كل شهر عن مشاكل النظر بشكل عام. وابتدينا قلنا نبتدي باهم مشكله واكتر مشكله حدوثا في مشاكل النظر اللي هي قصر النظر. زي ما انا قلت لحضراتكم، دوله زي الولايات المتحده الامريكيه احصائيات بتقول ان احنا وصلنا لحد 42% في المشكله دي. معانا واحد من احسن الناس اللي بتتكلم في الموضوع ده النهارده. زي ما انا قلت في البدايه، هيسعدنا تلقي كل اسئله حضراتكم على صفحتنا الرئيسيه على الفيسبوك وايت كوت الكرمة تي في، او الارقام اللي ظاهره قدام حضراتكم على الشاشه. تقدروا تكلمونا في اي وقت لو عايزين تتواصلوا مع ضيفي النهارده بشكل دايركت. It's my pleasure and honor today to welcome for the first time on White Coat Dr. Matthew Wang. Welcome, Dr. Wang.
Thank you very much. Delighted to be here.
As I mentioned today, like we're talking about the most common refractive eye disorders today, which is myopia or nearsightedness, right? Before we start talking about that, let's show our viewers this beautiful organ, the eye, and the structures and the function for each structure before we talk about the problem.
Absolutely. It is quite beautiful, isn't it? Quite amazing. So with respect to anatomy inside the eye, there's so many structures to look at. With myopia, we can kind of limit ourselves to three. There's the cornea, which is the very front surface of the eye, and then there's the lens, which is inside the eye. So these two structures are the main ones that affect how light focuses within the eye. And the goal, or in an ideal situation, all the light that passes into the eye will get focused exactly on the back surface of the retina.
Okay. So like the slide we have now, what's the function of each structure of those to make it clear for our viewers?
So on the very left-hand side, that very first structure, it's not labeled, but you can see there's that clear shell on the front of the eye. That's the cornea.
Okay.
And actually, that's where most of the focusing of the light occurs. And as light enters into the eye, it gets bent at the cornea. Behind the cornea, it is labeled, you can see the lens.
Okay.
And the lens, again, the light is bent again. And those two structures put together ideally will focus light exactly at the very back of the eye on the structure labeled the retina.
Okay. And supposedly the media is transparent in between, so we can get this like focused on the retina.
It's supposed to be.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. الحقيقة زي ما دكتور وانج قال، حبينا نبتدي مع حضراتكم النهارده بان احنا نوري حضراتكم ايه هي تركيبه العين. انا عارف ان احنا ده عملناه قبل كده، بس للتذكره عشان حضراتكم تبقوا عارفين احنا بنتكلم في انهي تركيبه معينه او انهي اعضاء معينه جوه العين هي اللي ممكن تبوظ وتعمل لنا المشكله اللي بنتكلم عليها النهارده، اللي هي مشكله قصر النظر. حقيقه على اقصى الشمال خالص الجزء اللي هو نص دايره ده بنسميه القرنيه، وده اول جزء بيلامسه الضوء او شكل اي حاجه عشان يدخل لجوه ويتركز على الشبكيه. الجزء اللي في النص اللي عليه السهم دلوقتي الاصفر اللي هو العدسه، ودي برضو اللي هي المشاكل فيها بتؤدي المشاكل في الريفراكشن او مشاكل في ان احنا نركز الصوره بشكل صح على اهم جزء في الموضوع ده، اللي هو في اخر العين خالص في اقصى الزاويه اليمين اللي هي الشبكيه. والشبكيه دي لو حضراتكم يمكن الاجيال القديمه شويه شافت الكاميرا اللي عليها فيلم الاسود ده اللي كنا بنحمضه زمان، الشبكيه دي عامله زي الفيلم الاسود اللي كنا بنحمضه، اللي هي المفروض الصور تقع عليها وتظهر فلتبعت مسج للمخ تقول ان انا شايفه الحاجه دي بالطريقه دي. المفروض زي ما دكتور وانج قال انه الثلاث حاجات الاساسيه دي سواء القرنيه او العدسه او الشبكيه هم دول المسؤولين بشكل كبير جدا انه لو حصل اي مشكله فيهم بيحصل مشكله قصر النظر اللي هنناقشها النهارده، لانه مهم جدا حضراتكم كمان تفهموا ايه هو قصر النظر وبيجي منين وايه هو تركيبه العين والمشاكل اللي لما بتحصل في اي تركيبه من التركيبات دي بتؤدي لمشكله قصر النظر. So now we went through the structure of the eye. What's myopia? Like we have been seeing myopia and nearsightedness. What's myopia?
Yes, so you're right. So myopia is called nearsightedness or maybe short-sightedness. And basically what happens is objects that are in the distance, as they're focused as images inside the eye, instead of being focused exactly on the retina, they're actually focused a little bit ahead of it. So you can imagine they're actually being focused somewhere inside the space of the eye instead of exactly on the retina where it'll result in a clear image.
So if I'm your patient and I got to the clinic, and what would be my main symptoms? What are the complaints for your patient who suffer from myopia?
So if you were a child, you would come in and say, when I'm looking at the board at school, I can't see it because my teacher just moved me to the back of the classroom.
Okay.
And I used to be able to see it when I was sitting in the front. Or maybe if you're an adult, you'll say, hey, I notice when I'm driving, I'm not seeing what the freeway sign says or what the street sign says until I'm almost there. And then it's too late to make a change at that point. So basically, things in the distance just are not clear.
Okay. And how big is the problem? If you want to walk us through some statistics to see how big is the problem, the prevalence of the problem, and why do you think it's happening more and more now?
So it is becoming more of a problem for sure. We know that over time, the prevalence of myopia has increased. For example, back in 1999, there was a huge eye study, the Blue Mountain Eye Study, and myopia was just one of the things that they wanted to look at. And at that time, they found that about 15% of the population had myopia or nearsightedness. But over time, as more studies have come out, they found, for example, in 2013, there was a fairly large study done in Australia. And instead of 15%, they were finding now 30% of myopia. And not in the general population. They only evaluated the population in school. So that doesn't even take into account adults. And
you cannot use it as a reference for the whole society.
No, those were just up to 17-year-old school-age children.
As I mentioned earlier, for the National Eye Institute statistics, they're saying 1972 was 25% prevalence. 2014 was almost 42% prevalence of myopia.
Yeah. So around that 40% is also what we're seeing here in the U.S. right now. And there are parts of the world in East Asia, for example, where by the time kids graduate from high school, actually over 90% of them are nearsighted, are myopic.
Wow. So school makes vision worse? That's your message today?
So if the take-home message is to stay away from school, no, we don't want to do that. But we do know that a lot of the activities associated with school, for example, reading, can induce myopia.
Okay, if we can define myopia in a different form on those like beautiful slides, would you like to show us like what happens in the eye structure?
Sure, let's take a look
like
at some
slide
of those
4,
slides.
for example. Like that's the normal like.
So in this slide, you can see that an image, a letter, for example, that you would read on a page or a screen, it gets focused exactly on the surface of the retina. So this is normal vision. This is what we want to have for clear vision.
Okay.
On the next
slide. So that's the normal status.
That's normal vision.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is not really the topic of today. This is hyperopia. This is farsightedness. And what happens is instead of the image focusing exactly on the retina, it's actually behind it. And then that will result in blurred vision.
So that's what we call farsightedness.
Okay. Exactly.
So today's topic is nearsightedness, which is
would be the opposite of
so
this one.
What happens here in myopia in the eye?
So the image is focused not on the retina, but ahead of it.
Yeah.
And in most cases of myopia, it's because the eye is too long. And instead of focusing exactly on the retina, it's ahead. And again, it results in an image that's not clear, as long as what you're looking at is out in the distance.
So in other meaning, like if I'm reading, for example, like this, I have to read like from like near.
You would have to hold it closer, right? At that distance, whatever you're looking at focuses on your retina. But as you move that object farther away, then it starts to shift that point of focus until it's ahead of the retina, and then you're not able to see it clearly anymore.
And according to those slides, the problem it's either in the cornea or the lens or the retina?
Yes, so it could be any of those contributing
Three structures.
factors.
Okay.
Exactly.
الحقيقة زي ما أنا كنت بكلم مع دكتور وانج دلوقتي، احنا اتكلمنا على تركيبة العين والثلاث مكونات الرئيسية اللي بتبقى مسؤولة عن الكلام ده. فسألته طيب ايه هو تعريف قصر النظر؟ قال لي تعريف قصر النظر بشكل بسيط جدا ان انت حضرتك او حضرتك او اطفالنا بيقدروا يشوفوا من قريب بشكل كويس جدا، ولكن من بعيد او المسافات البعيدة دايما تبقى الرؤية مش واضحة. زي ما دكتور وانج قال، اكتر شكوى بتجيله انه يجي طفل يقول له انا السبورة مش شايفها كويس من بعيد، ولكن بشوفها كويس لو انا قاعد في اول صف. والحقيقة طبعا في ثقافتنا الشرقية أول صف ده كل الأطفال بتتخانق على أول صف، وأحيانا بيبقى فعلا في مشاكل موجودة في نظرهم، بس احنا ما بنقدرش نشخصها لأنه ما عندناش السكريننج أو المسح الشامل لأطفالنا اللي نقدر نكتشف بيه المشاكل دي. فزي ما بقول ان احنا فكرة قصر النظر ان احنا بنشوف كويس جدا، بس لو قربنا الحاجات الطبيعي انه الانسان بيقرا مثلا بالشكل ده في مشكلة قصر النظر بيقرب جدا الحاجة من عينيه، أو الطفل بيقرب جدا الحاجة من عينيه. مش بس الكتاب، بنشوف كمان التليفونات، بنشوف كمان كل الوسائل اللي ليها شاشات، بنشوف أطفالنا almost يعني لازقين عينيهم في الحاجة عشان يشوفوها. فلازم كمان احنا نعلمهم العادات الصح، وده هنناقشه في جزء من حلقتنا. كمان لو رجعنا للسلايدز اللي احنا شفناها في الشكل الطبيعي خالص، أو في النورمال فيجن زي ما بنسميه، الطبيعي انه لما حضرتك بتشوف الحاجه اللي هو حرف الاي مثلا، بتدخل عن طريق القرنيه وبعدين العدسه اللي هي الاستراكشر الازرق اللي في النص، وتتكون الصوره على الشبكيه ورا خالص زي ما احنا شايفين. في طول النظر اللي هو جزء مش من حلقتنا النهارده، ولكن هناخد ليه حلقه مفصله برضه لوحده. زي ما حضراتكم شايفين الصوره بدل ما بتتكون على الشبكيه، الجزء الاصفر اللي في الاخر بتتكون ورا الشبكيه، وبالتالي بنقدر نشوف كويس جدا من بعيد، ولكن من قريب ما بنقدرش نشوف. موضوع حلقتنا النهارده اللي هو بنتكلم فيه على قصر النظر. زي ما حضراتكم شايفين الصوره دلوقتي، حضرتك لو بتشوف الحرف ايه القرنية والعدسة، ولكن بيتكون قدام الشبكية مش وراها، وبالتالي بتعمل مشكلة ان احنا بنشوف من قريب ما بنشوفش من بعيد. اتكلمت كمان مع دكتور وانج على الإحصائيات اللي موجودة، ويمكن أنا قلتها في أول حلقة انه الإحصائيات تقريبا بتقول انه النهاردة في مجتمع زي مجتمعنا تقريبا وصلنا لحد 40% أو 42% بالتحديد من موضوع قصر النظر. يعني تقريبا داخلين على 1 من كل 2 بيعانوا من مشكلة قصر النظر. كمان مهم جدا ان احنا يعني نبقى عندنا نعرف المشكلة دي، نحاول نلقطها بدري في أطفالنا، لأنه ده مهم جدا جدا جدا. So what's the focus before we start talking about the mechanism of central and peripheral focus? What is the focus? What do we want from like this focus to be normal?
So focus inside the eye is, you can kind of break it up into 2 sections. Most of the time we're paying attention to central focus. For example, when I'm looking at you, I may be looking specifically at your eyes, but that doesn't mean I can't see anything else around you.
Okay.
And so when we're looking at a detail, we want that detail to be focused exactly on the retina. But what we know is the objects around that central detail are also being focused somewhere. And in most cases, they're not being focused exactly on the retina. They're actually being focused behind the retina. Okay. So we have central focus on the retina, but we may have edge or peripheral focus that is behind the retina.
Okay. When we say peripheral focus, because I want to put it in a simple, what's peripheral focus to let people understand? Like,
so
in
peripheral
our
focus,
life.
for example, if I'm looking at my computer screen, I may be reading a word or a sentence in the middle of the screen, but there's still the edges of the screen or maybe the icons in the background surrounding what I'm looking at. And I may not be looking at them directly, but I still perceive them, and they're still being focused inside the eye.
Okay. So in normal condition, like how it should work, the mechanism on the eye? like in normal conditions?
So ideally, we want everything to be focused exactly on the retina because that's where everything is in best focus.
Okay.
But that doesn't always happen.
Okay. And when I look at something, I should be able to recognize anything coming from the sides, like, for example, during driving. That's a good example to explain it.
Yes. Yeah, that's a great example because you're looking straight ahead, but you still notice there's a car next to you. You may not be able to see much detail on that car, but you're aware it's there. And same thing with anything you're looking at. You're paying attention to what you're focused on, but you're still aware of what the objects around it are.
And in myopia, which one gets affected, the central or peripheral focus or both?
It's both. So with myopia, with central focus, we want that to be clear because when we're trying to read a word, we won't be able to read it unless it's clear. If we go back to your driving example, if I'm looking for a freeway sign, looking at a freeway sign, that sign needs to be clear in order for me to read it. The car next to me, I just need to know it's there. I don't need to necessarily be able to know what its license plate is. I just need to know it's there. So if it's not in perfect focus, that's okay.
Okay. But can in myopia, like, can it affect the central focus without the peripheral focus, or it affects both of them at the same time? Like, can it be one on or the other, or
it can?
It has to be both.
It can be just one, or it can be both. And most of the time, it's a concern when it's both.
Okay. I have another question here. What's the normal range that I can take it as a reference? And beyond that, or before that, I would say, oh, I would have myopia or hyperopia, or like if I'm reading, what's the reference range?
So, a lot of that also depends on how you use your eyes. For example, if you're a driver, you'll be much more sensitive to small changes in the detail of your distance vision.
Supposedly.
So when we, hopefully, yes. So when we measure someone's vision, I may measure a very mild myopic error. But if it's someone who really depends on clear distance vision, it may be quite significant for them. Whereas someone who perhaps works on a computer most of the day, they may not notice that even if they have the same amount of myopia. Okay. So generally we measure myopia in steps of diopters, and anything more than a quarter or a half diopter will probably be noticeable.
Significant.
But how much it impacts your life does depend on how you use your eyes.
Okay, I got like one of the very important questions on Facebook, which is how we develop the right habits of reading, or for our kids, or they're sitting in front of the screening, how we develop the right habits and how we want to make sure they have the right distance between them and their book, or them and their screen.
So that's a great question. I get asked that a lot, and we generally have something called the Harmon distance with near work, and that's basically the distance from your elbow to your hand. And so for kids, we do expect them to hold things a little bit closer just because they're smaller people. But we don't want them to have elbows bent and so the page is very close. It should be about that distance away. Other things to keep in mind is anytime you're reading off a page, you want to have good lighting. Good lighting that illuminates what you're looking at and also possibly what's around you. Because again, myopia is not just controlled by what you see centrally, but also out towards the edges. So you want to have good lighting anytime you're reading. And probably the most important thing is to take frequent breaks. We know that if you read a lot continuously, you are going to tend to become more myopic.
So do we have any ideal period for that?
So the general rule right now is we're not really sure, but we think if you take 1 to 10 minutes of break time for every 20 to 30 minutes of reading or near work, that seems to work pretty well.
10 minutes every?
Yeah, so 1 to 10 minutes. We don't know which number really makes, at which point the number makes a difference, but somewhere in that range. So,
for example, for an hour studying, 6 minutes break is the ideal time.
That might be enough. And what I would say is instead of studying for an hour and taking a 6-minute break, maybe study for 30 minutes and then take a 3-minute break. And then do that again after 30 minutes.
How about you mentioned the illumination in the room. How about the posture? How does it affect the...
Upright, so you don't want to be slouched over, leaning over. You want both eyes to be about the same distance from the page or screen that you're looking at. And I think all the things that are our moms and dads told us to do as we were growing up, it turns out they were right.
They were right. So
Yeah.
no studying in bed, and it has to be on a desk.
Don't read with the cover over your head and a flashlight.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Because we would recognize this from the grades too, right? الحقيقة يعني كانت جزء مهم جدا 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 في القصة كلها ان احنا لازم كمان نفهم انه مش بس الرؤية المركزية هي اللي بتتأثر بقصر النظر، وده اللي قاله دكتور وانج، انه الرؤية المركزية اللي هو حضرتك باصص قدامك على طول دي بنسميها رؤية مركزية، وفي رؤية طرفية اللي هو الرؤية اللي جاية من الأجناب. وادانا مثال زي قال لو أنا سايق القصر النظر مش بس بيأثر على رؤيتي للعربيات اللي قدامي، بس أنا كمان لازم أريكوجنايز فكرة العربيات اللي جاية من الجنب عشان ما نعملش حوادث. فبس مش بتأثر على زي ما أنا قلت الرؤية المركزية، بتأثر كمان على الرؤية الجانبية، فقصر النظر بيأثر على الرؤيتين. هي يعني أسئلة كتير جت على الفيسبوك، بس أهمهم على الإطلاق دلوقتي سؤال جالنا مهم جدا بيتكلم على فكرة إيه هي إزاي أنمي العادات الكويسة لأولادي عشان قدر الإمكان أتجنب مشاكل النظر بالنسبة لهم. دكتور وانج قال إنه في 3 حاجات مهمة جدا، أهمهم على الإطلاق هو الإضاءة في الأوضة. مهم جدا إنه تبقى الإضاءة مناسبة عشان ما نضطرش نحط مجهود كبير أو سترين كبير على عينيهم عشان يقروا. الحاجة التانية المهمة جدا البريكس. وانا هنا بطلب من كل اب وام بلاش فكره الضغط على اولادي انه يعملوا او يذاكروا لفترات طويله من غير بريكس. زي ما هو قال تقريبا النسبه 1 لكل 10، فمثلا لكل نص ساعه مذاكره 3 دقائق بريك كويس جدا عشان اقدر اشيل المجهود اللي على عيني. كمان قال الوضع اثناء المذاكره مهم جدا. وعايز اقول لحضراتكم لانه كتير جدا بنتسال امتى نحس ان اولادنا بيقروا من مسافات كويسة. هو قال المسافة ما بين الكوع للإيد هي دي المسافة الكويسة. يعني لو أنا دراعي مفرود، لو أنا مثلا هدي حضراتكم مثال إن أنا من أول كوعي لأول إيدي المسافة دي مفرودة، فأنا بقرأ بالشكل ده، فده يبقى كويس جدا. لو قربت عن المسافة دي واضطريت إن أنا أتني كوعي لقدام عشان أقرأ وأشوف الحاجات بشكل كويس، معنى كده انه انا عندي مشكله قصر النظر. كمان للاطفال مهم جدا ان هم لو ماسكين كتاب دايما المسافه من الكوع لحد الايد تبقى مفروده وبيقروا بالشكل ده اللي قدام حضراتكم. لو اضطر الولد او البنت صغيرين او احنا كمان اضطرينا ان احنا نتني كوعنا، معنى كده ان انا قد اكون اعاني من مشكله قصر النظر. يبقى تاني بسرعه للسؤال اللي جالنا ازاي انمي عادات صحيه كويسه بالنسبه لاولادي. إضاءة كويسة، بريك 1 لكل 10، وزي ما قال دكتور وانج 3 دقايق لكل 30 دقيقة. كمان ألاحظ المسافة وفردة الإيد اللي أنا بقرأ بيها. كمان الوضع لازم يبقى الظهر قايم، زي ما قال مفيش مذاكرة في السرير والحاجات دي. فدي مسج مهمة جدا، والحقيقة حرصت إن أنا أخد السؤال ده لأنه سؤال مهم جدا وكل الأطفال تقريبا أو كل الآباء والأمهات بيسألوا. So now we know what's myopia and it affects the central and peripheral vision.
Mm-hmm.
What causes myopia in our life, the causes or the scientific causes behind myopia?
So just like most other conditions that we deal with, it's a combination of your genetics as well as your environment.
Okay.
So kids with moms and dads that are nearsighted will themselves most likely become nearsighted. And then on top of that, near work, so reading books, reading off a phone or a tablet or an iPad or a computer screen, lots of extended near work also causes myopia. And I think that's one of the reasons why in East Asian countries where they have very intense schooling, we see higher rates of it.
Okay. So how does the lifestyle, especially everything is turning now to screens, how does those blue rays affect the do you think it affects the prevalence of myopia?
So blue light, as far as we know so far, it doesn't affect myopia specifically, but we do know that blue light has energy in it that may be harmful to the retina. For example, there is fairly intense blue light that comes from the sun, and that can cause damage to the cells at the very center of the retina after prolonged exposure.
Okay. So what's the level of myopia? Like, how do you classify this disease in general?
So we classify it pretty easily. There's low, there's medium, and there's high. So generally, if we see someone with myopia up to about 3 diopters, we would consider that low. Anywhere from 3 to 6, we would consider moderate. And then above 6, we classify those folks as having high myopia.
Okay. Another question we got it on Facebook. She's asking about her son, 7 years old. He was diagnosed with half a degree of diopter. Half diopter, do you think, she's asking, do you think it's indicative for him to have eyeglasses?
So at half diopter at 7 years old, most of the time I will not prescribe glasses right away, because at 7 years old they tend to be having a school environment where the classes are a little bit smaller, kids are sitting closer to the teacher, and so they should be able to see everything they need to see over time. However, that is someone that we want to track over time, maybe check a little bit more frequently than just once a year.
How often we should check our kids?
Every 3 to 6 months, depending on what other risk factors are there. For example, if this is a 7-year-old who has 2 parents that are both very myopic, we would want to keep track of that person a little bit closer.
Okay. الحقيقة برضو سؤالي لدكتور وانج كان عن ايه هي مسببات قصر النظر بشكل عام. قال زي اي حاجة في الدنيا بتبقى جزء منها بيئي، جزء جيني، فالجينات بتلعب دور كبير في فكرة قصر النظر. يعني لو والدين عندهم قصر نظر غالبا الأطفال ممكن تعاني من المشكلة دي. حاجة كمان مهمة جدا سألته عليها، ايه هي الدرجات بتاع قصر النظر. يمكن سلايد 15 مهم جدا ان احنا نعرف الكلاسيفيكيشن او التقسيمة بتاعتهم. قال ان احنا بنعتبر قصر النظر بسيط لحد 3 درجات او بنسميها 3 diopters، او ميديوم متوسط من 3 ل 6 diopters، او بنعتبره بشكل كبير جدا اكتر من 6 درجات. يعني بالشكل البسيط جدا لو اقل من 3 درجات قصر النظر بنعتبره بسيط، من 3 ل 6 بنعتبره متوسط، سيفير او يعني حاجة كبيرة جدا لو اكتر من 6 درجات، لانه ده بيبقى محتاج علاج. حاجة تانية مهمة، جالنا سؤال من مدام أمال بتقول إنه ابنها عنده 7 سنين، ولما وديته لدكتور العيون قال إنه عنده نص درجة أو نص diopter قصر نظر، فبتسأل إنه ده هل في السن ده ممكن يحط نظارة؟ زي ما دكتور وانج جاوب سؤال حضرتك، عند نص diopter مش مهم، مش بشكل كبير قوي ان احنا نحط نظارة في السن ده، ولكن لازم يتابع كل 3 ل 6 شهور. So why does it matter to detect the myopia like very early, especially in kids?
Because we know that especially when it occurs in kids, it's very likely going to become worse.
Okay.
And I'm wondering if maybe we can backtrack a little bit.
Sure.
There are some slides that I think help explain the difference between the central and peripheral focus.
Sure.
That might make it a little bit easier to understand.
Which slide do you want?
So on slide number 9, we have an image of a
central and peripheral focus.
Yeah, someone reading a book, and you can see when they're looking at that letter A in the middle of the page, it is indeed right on the retina, and so that letter appears clear, and they can see it well. But the edge of the book, the tops, the bottoms, and the sides, you can see those are actually falling behind the retina,
Okay.
and so they're a little bit out of focus. It's not going to impact function very much, because what we're really paying attention to is that letter in the center. But the reason this is a problem is because in the periphery of the retina, where the book is being focused behind, there are cells there that interpret the focus of the light and they influence how the eye grows.
Okay.
Those cells actually send a signal that is very, very strong, even stronger than the center of the retina where things are in focus. And the signal is images are focusing too far back, so the eye needs to elongate or grow. So it actually causes the eye to grow, and as the eye grows, then you get to the next slide where now the edges of that page or book are on the retina.
Okay.
The problem is now that letter we're trying to see
stretching.
is no longer on the retina anymore, and we see that as blurry vision.
Right. So I have a question here, like, is there any anatomical structure, like structural changes that happen to the eye in myopia?
Yes, so the most common form of myopia occurs when the eye physically grows. So it's not really a structure inside the eye, it's the entire eye itself, because that peripheral retina is sending a signal for the eye to grow so that it catches up with the focus. You can see that in the bottom one, this is someone who's myopic. The eye has elongated or stretched out over time. So
What can cause this? Like, what in a simpler language, what other diseases can cause myopia at the same time? Or is there any association between myopia and other diseases?
Yeah, so the most common, unfortunately it's not a common occurrence, but the one condition that can cause myopia in kids is glaucoma. And in congenital or childhood glaucoma, what happens is the pressure, the fluid pressure inside the eye is too high. So if you imagine a balloon where you're filling it with water, as you increase the amount of water or fluid pressure inside, then the balloon starts to expand.
Yeah.
And so you can have the same thing that happens in an eye.
So glaucoma or congenital glaucoma can cause myopia?
It can.
Can it cause myopia in adults too if it happened in a later age?
Usually not. Usually not, because the structures of the eye are more formed by that point. And so the pressure inside the eye, even though it's higher in an adult who has glaucoma, generally that will not cause the eye to continue growing.
Okay.
The interesting thing is the flip thing can happen in adults though. Adults who have myopia are at higher risk for glaucoma later on. And part of that just has to do with, as the eye has grown over time, the tissue gets tilted and stretched in different ways, and then that can cause damage to the nerve.
I'm going to try to flip the question here for you. The complication of myopia, like what, if myopia got worse, what can it cause to the eye or in general?
Good question. So obviously there's an inconvenience factor, because the more myopic you are, the more blurry things are in the distance, the more dependent you are on having to wear glasses or contact lenses or something like that. And so there's that basic practical day-to-day impact that it has on our lives. Beyond that, there are some health considerations with myopia. So glaucoma, for example, is one of them. We know that people with myopia are at higher risk of developing glaucoma later on. We also know that people with myopia, because the eye has stretched, that tissue on the inside, that retina, has also become stretched over time. And over a period of time, it becomes weaker. You stretch tissue, it becomes thinner, and it's more prone to tear or to have holes develop in it. And retinal tears or holes lead to retinal detachments.
So stretching is not always good?
Stretching is not always good. In fact, it's probably never good with regard to the shape of your eye.
Okay. So if it's like, how worse it can get, like complete retinal detachment, like sudden, or?
Yes, retinal detachments
over time.
Can start at any time, and they can progress quickly. Sometimes they don't. In fact, yesterday is just coincidentally, I had a patient who had a retinal detachment in both eyes.
Wow.
And she is someone who has a history of moderate to high myopia. The interesting thing is she had Lasik already.
Okay.
So
we have tons of questions about Lasik. I'll get to this.
She had good vision, but the shape of her eye was still that of someone who has moderate to high myopia, and she did end up having a retinal detachment.
And how much worse can myopia get with glaucoma or other kind of disease?
So the rates are quite high. With regard to increased
slide 19.
Increased prevalence with glaucoma, it's 3 times more. You're also more prone to have certain types of cataracts with high myopia, also about 3 times more. But the big one is the retinal detachment, 4 to 10 times higher risk for retinal detachment. And with that one, the risk actually starts with even lower amounts of myopia. You don't have to have very high myopia before the risk for retinal detachment increases.
الحقيقة سؤالي دكتور وانج كان عن ايه هي التغيرات اللي بتحصل مش بس في النظر، ولكن التغيرات التركيبية اللي بتحصل في العين كمان، لانه ده مهم جدا. زي ما حضراتكم هتشوفوا في سلايد 17 العين نفسها تركيبتها بتكبر، فبيحصل نوع من الاسترتش او التمدد. زي ما حضراتكم شايفين العين السليمة بتبقى فوق، دي العين في الشكل الطبيعي. العين اللي تحت شوية دي بتبقى بيحصل ستريتشنج للعين نتيجة انه الحاجات بتقع قدام الشبكية زي ما حضراتكم شايفين، فبيحصل النوع ده من الستريتشنج. سألت دكتور وانج كان ايه هي كمان المشاكل اللي ممكن تيجي مع قصر النظر او المشاكل اللي قصر النظر ممكن يسببها. قال لي اهمهم على الاطلاق هو انفصال الشبكية نتيجة الاسترتش اللي بيحصل في العين. زي ما احنا شفنا انه بنوصل لدرجة او بنوصل لحالة انه نتيجة الاسترتش اللي احنا شايفينه تحت العين الشبكية بيبتدي يحصل انفصال شبكي جزئي او انفصال شبكي كلي. وزي ما هو قال لي كمان انه بالصدفة امبارح لسه كان عنده بيشنت نتيجة الميوبيا الجامدة جدا، ولما بنقول ميوبيا بشكل كبير يعني بنتكلم على 6 درجات أو أكبر زي ما قلنا لحضراتكم، وحصل انفصال شبكي في العين الاتنين. فمهم جدا إن احنا ما ناخدش فكرة قصر النظر ده بشكل بسيط، لأنه له مضاعفات كبيرة ممكن تحصل. قال لي كمان إنه في الأطفال الجلوكوما أو المية الزرقاء ممكن تسبب قصر نظر بشكل كبير جدا، وقصر النظر بيبقى مشكلة بتاعته أسوأ مع الجلوكوما أو المية الزرقاء على سبيل المثال 3 مرات أكتر، مع المية البيضاء أو الكاتراكت برضو 3 مرات أكتر، وحدوث انفصال الشبكية زي ما حضراتكم شايفين في السلايد دي، لأنه مهمة جدا. كل مرضى قصر النظر عندهم عرضة ان يجي لهم ميه زرقاء 3 مرات اكتر من الطبيعي، ميه بيضاء الكاتراكت 3 مرات اكتر من الطبيعي. والاحصائيه المرعبه جدا الريتينال ديتاتشمنت اللي هو اخر جزء تحت، من 4 ل 10 مرات اضعاف الشخص الطبيعي انه ممكن يحصل انفصال في الشبكيه. فمهم جدا 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 ان احنا نركز على قصر النظر ويتعالج بدري عشان ما يحصلش مضاعفات سواء ميه زرقاء او ميه بيضاء او انفصال شبكي، لان كل دي مضاعفات بتبقى سيئه جدا لا قدر الله اذا حصلت. كده ركزنا مع حضراتكم عن ايه هو قصر النظر، ايه اسبابه، شرحنا اسبابه الجينيه واسبابه البيئيه، المضاعفات اللي ممكن تحصل نتيجه قصر النظر. كل ده كان زي مقدمه كبيره عشان نوري حضراتكم كمان ايه اللي بيحصل في العين، والحاجات امتى تتحط يعني بتقف قدام الشبكيه، ما بتبقاش مركزه على الشبكيه فما بنشوفش كويس. روحنا كمان اتكلمنا على اعراض قصر النظر وبالذات في اطفالنا، واهميه ان احنا نلقطها بشكل بدري لانه ده مهم جدا. هناخد بريك، نرجع نتكلم بقى مع حضراتكم عن المهم واللي كل الاسئله جايه لنا عليه، العلاج. كمان غير العلاج عمليات الليزك اللي في كل مكان في الدنيا، وجاي لنا كتير جدا اسئله على عمليات الليزك وعلاج قصر النظر وامتى تبقى كويسه. هنتكلم كمان على النظارات، وهنتكلم على التكنيك الجديد اللي بيحصل في العالم كله اللي هو الاورثوكيراتولوجي، لانه ده مهم جدا. ناخد بريك ونرجع مع حضراتكم نتكلم على كل انواع العلاج اللي موجوده في العالم دلوقتي لمشكله قصر النظر. ناخد بريك ونرجع نشوف حضراتكم تاني.
Are you tired of being overweight? Do you suffer from diabetes? Do you suffer from hypertension? Do you suffer from obstructive sleep apnea? Do you suffer from hypercholesterolemia? Have you suffered from heart attacks in the past? Strokes in the past? Are you tired of being ostracized in public? Well, I have a solution for you. Robotic bariatric surgery. This can completely change your life. I'm Dr. Bobby Baskerau. I'm a robotic bariatric surgeon. I do robotic weight loss surgery, which can completely change your life. I offer 3 different types of surgeries that can completely change your life: the sleeve gastrectomy, the lap band, and the Roux-en-Y gastric bypass. One thing that's very unique about our program is that we have a dietitian, and you will get counseled on what to eat, what not to eat, and how to optimize the utilization of your tool for good weight loss.
Hi and welcome to the first episode of White Coat. I'm Tamer, Meshel, the host of the new show, White Coat.
And people began to drink alcohol as a social lubricant, and from there they began to misuse it, and they abuse it.
Not focus so much on the chemical and think more of the brain, in other words, the person.
Behavioral interventions are crucial. What we have to recognize is a non-judgmental, loving, compassionate support.
The best way to treat addiction is to prevent it, okay? So be very mindful, be educated, work with a doctor that knows what they're prescribed.
I would hope through programs like yours, getting the word out, that people understand it's not that they're bad people, it's just that they're ill.
Take care of your sleep if you want to sleep. Go to bed at about the same time every day.
Most of our communities across the country are struggling in one way or another with drugs. It affects our level of productivity, it affects our kids in schools.
You don't want to take anybody for granted. I mean, Henry and I, for instance, when he does the dishes every night, which he loves to do for some reason, I always thank him.
We can have excellent diabetes control, and we can prevent most complications if we start early enough.
To discontinue any sugary drinks or only have 1 cup a day. Number 2, be aware of your calories.
Thank you for your overwhelming support and your wonderful interaction with White Coat. أهلا بحضراتكم مرة تانية في الجزء الأخير من حلقتنا النهاردة، واللي هنركز فيه على طرق العلاج. اتكلمنا على كل حاجة في قصر النظر. هنركز بقى إيه هي طرق العلاج، مين هو البيشنت اللي مناسب لكل طريقة علاج، لأنه ده مهم جدا جدا جدا. So let's talk about the most important part, treatment, the solution for the problem, right? So what are the options for myopia treatment in general, and then we'll talk about each one specifically.
So how do you fix it? The basic correction for myopia is eyeglasses.
Okay.
Eyeglasses are very non-invasive, they're very safe to use, they're not very expensive to obtain either, and they will give you clear vision.
Okay.
So the primary treatment would probably be eyeglasses.
Okay. Then our other options, if not eyeglasses.
And then beyond that, we can do contact lenses. People who have active lifestyles or don't like the way glasses look or feel when they wear them will often wear contact lenses during the daytime instead.
Okay. If not contact lenses.
And then even beyond that, contact lenses, we have things like orthokeratology or Lasik, laser vision correction.
Okay. If I showed you here, like I have tons of questions about LASIK surgery, so
believe
we'll talk about this in details. But let's start with eyeglasses first. Who would be, first of all, like, again, when do we start treating myopia in general?
So generally, I'll recommend treatment for patients who are having trouble seeing things they need to see. If someone does not really need to see that far away, then they may have some myopia and may not even prescribe the eyeglasses because it won't really benefit any part of their life. But if we have a student who's unable to see what the teacher is writing on the board, for example, then we'll definitely prescribe some glasses.
But there's no magic number, like beyond 1 diopter we start treating, like.
There's no magic number, but I think if it's beyond 1 diopter, most people will have parts of their day where they find they're squinting to see or they're just not seeing as clearly as they need to or want to.
So let's start with our option 1 here, the eyeglasses. Who would be your good candidate for eyeglasses?
So someone who's just getting started with myopia, who doesn't need correction all the time. So for example, that student in the back of the class, he or she may only need to put the glasses on for part of the class when the teacher's actually doing something on the board. And then the rest of the class, or perhaps even the rest of the day, they can just keep the glasses in the case tucked away in their backpack. So it's a correction that's easy to use part-time.
Okay. How do you, if it started in early age? Because I get a lot of those questions here. How do you convince your kids to wear eyeglasses?
So first we have them watch the movie Harry Potter. No, we don't. Fortunately, nowadays, glasses are not as, you know, when I was growing up, any kid in the class who had glasses would really get teased and made fun of.
They don't like to wear their own like eyeglasses.
They don't. But nowadays, it's perhaps because it's just more common. We have patients, kids sometimes who actually don't need glasses, but they want to wear glasses because their friend has them.
Okay.
And so with that respect, it's a little bit easier to encourage kids to wear glasses. They realize, well, they're not the only one who has to do that. They have other friends who do that. Also with myopia, because vision is just blurry without your glasses on, kids also learn to appreciate that when I put these glasses on, I can just see so much better. And they kind of like that. And that's a self-encouragement to wear their
Maybe let them pick
glasses.
their own eyeglasses. They might
Absolutely.
help, whatever favorite
Absolutely.
color is. Or
ask them what their favorite color is. Ask them what kind of, you know, frame materials they like. Do they want something that looks sporty? Or do they want something that looks more cute? And there's so many ways to style frames nowadays that kids are able to wear them more easily.
I'll flip the question. Which patient you wouldn't tell him, no, eyeglasses is not the answer for you?
So obviously anyone who does not have any refractive error, anyone who doesn't have any problems focusing, we would not prescribe prescription lenses. Also, there are some people who should not be wearing their distance correction while they read. There are some people that some studies show that if they're wearing their glasses all the time, and they really don't need to, it may actually do more harm than it does good. It causes their myopia to increase. So we do prescribe specific wearing schedules for anyone we give glasses to.
Okay. الحقيقة زي ما أنا قلت لحضراتكم هنبتدي نتكلم على الحل لمشكلة قصر النظر أو يعني إزاي نبتدي بالحل. زي ما قال دكتور وانج، رقم واحد هي النظارات الطبية. وزي ما احنا قلنا لحضراتكم قبل كده وقسمنا قصر النظر لحد 3 درجات بنعتبره يعني معقول، متوسط من 3 ل 6، أكتر من 6 بنعتبره قصر نظر كبير جدا ومحتاج تدخل. رقم واحد في النظارات قال إن احنا بنستخدم النظارات الطبية دي بالذات كمان مع الأطفال اللي في المدرسة. سألته إزاي نقدر نقنعهم بده، قال خليهم يختاروا النظارات بتاعتهم، ميبي لما هم كمان يلبسوها بشكل متكرر ويحسوا بالفرق هيبتدوا يلبسوها أكتر من الطبيعي، لأنه ده مهم جدا إن احنا نبتدي بفكرة النظارات للأطفال، لأنه ده مهم جدا جدا جدا. فرقم واحد هي النظارات الطبية بشكل عام. What's the ideal eyeglasses like for each patient? Does it have to have like a certain size, certain kind? Do you recommend certain kind of lenses?
The nice thing about today's lens technology is that we can use almost any frame shape now. Obviously, some frames will look better on some people, but you may want a frame that doesn't fit you because it gives you the look that you want.
Right.
And
so that's my question here. How would I pick the frame that fits me medically, not just
style-wise? Again, I think if you fall back to the improvements in lens fabrication technology we have nowadays, we can fit any frame.
Okay.
Yeah, we can make lenses of any size, of varying degrees of thickness, so that even if you have a large frame or a small frame, we can make a lens that will correct your myopia fully.
Who would be your good candidate for contact lenses? Like you would tell them eyeglasses is not a good option for you and let's go to contact lenses. So who would be your good candidate for contact lenses?
I think the most common people we fit into contact lenses would be folks who do sports. Eyeglasses, even though they're safe when they're being worn, they can be knocked off when you're doing sports. When you're active, they can be broken. And they also limit your peripheral vision to an extent, because when you look through the center of the lens, you can see, but then out around the edges of your vision, there is no lens there. And so you have limited peripheral vision in glasses. So especially our teenage patients who participate in sports like basketball or soccer or something like that, contact lenses are a great way for them to maintain clear vision, but not have to have glasses on.
Okay. What's the success rate for contact lenses?
Super high. It's very rare that we find someone who cannot wear contact lenses.
Okay. What's the contraindication for contact lenses? Like people, you wouldn't tell them, no, contact lenses is not the right answer for you.
So contact lenses, because it's a lens that's on the eye, it is a medical device, and there are some risks associated with contact lens where the main one is potential infections. Infections of the cornea especially can be quite bad. If you get scarring after an infection in the cornea, you can actually lose some vision because it's hard to see through that scar afterwards.
Right.
So for contact lenses, we will avoid anyone that we suspect is not going to follow the prescribed wearing schedule, someone who is not going to take proper care of the lenses, Those are the patients, they're increasing their risk for these complications, and it's just not a road we want to go down.
Is there any different kind of lenses, or?
Yes, there are for conventional contact lenses, the two categories are soft lenses, and the other category would be rigid lenses. So the way I like to explain it to my patients is you have crunchy taco shells, those would be your rigid lenses. They're a little bit flexible, but they can crack.
Okay.
And then you have your soft taco shells. You can actually roll them up, and they're soft. Both of them have pros and cons, but either one of them work pretty well.
Okay. الحقيقة زي ما اتكلمنا على أول اوبشن أو أول حاجة نقدر نبتدي علاج القصر النظر بيها هي النظارات الطبية. تاني حاجة من الاوبشنز دي هي العدسات اللاصقة أو العدسات الطبية بشكل عام. زي ما سألت دكتور وانج امتى بتحط البيشنتس بتوعك على عدسات، قال لو هم مش بيحبوا فكرة لبس النظارات، ده رقم واحد. رقم اتنين، الأطفال اللي بتمارس رياضة بشكل عام مقدروش يلبسوا النظارات لفترة طويلة، فدي مهمة جدا. قال كمان حاجة على العدسات اللاصقة أو العدسات الطبية، حاجة مهمة جدا، فكرة إنه بتحسن النظر المركزي زي ما أنا قلت لحضراتكم، ولكن النظر الجانبي أو الخارجي أو الطرفي زي ما بنسميه اللي هو البريفرال فيجن ما بيتحسنش لأنه ما فيش لينس في الناحية دي، فبتحسن جدا فكرة النظر المركزي، ولكن النظر الطرفي مش بيتحسن مع العدسات الطبية. سألته كمان إذا في أنواع مختلفة من العدسات الطبية، قال لي في العدسات الطبية اللينة وفي العدسات الطبية الصلبة، وكل واحد ليه ميزاته وليه عيوبه. So what's the advantages and disadvantages for each kind of lens, like the hard shell taco and the regular one?
So the rigid lenses tend to give you the sharpest vision because it provides a very smooth surface for which light to focus through. It corrects your vision and gives you very, very sharp vision. One of the disadvantages of rigid lenses, they are smaller and they do become dislodged more easily. So for example, for that patient who wants contact lenses for sports, we might not prescribe that type of lens because if they get bumped, that lens can come out more easily.
Okay.
Soft lenses are a little bit larger, and so they're held onto the eye a little bit better. And so for sports, they tend to work pretty well. What some potential disadvantages are, you may not see as clearly with a soft lens, depending on your prescription, as you might with a rigid lens.
الحقيقة سألته كمان عن أنواع العدسات الطبية اللي بنستخدمها زي ما أنا قلت لحضراتكم، في العدسات الطبية اللينة وفي العدسات الطبية الصلبة. قال لي الصلبة بتبقى أفضل من فكرة الفيجن لأنه بتركز الصور على الشبكية بشكل قوي جدا وبتحسن النظر بشكل أكبر بكتير. مشاكلها الأساسية أنها زي ما أنا قلت لحضراتكم هي صلبة فممكن تتكسر بشكل عام. العدسات الطبية اللي هي الطرية زي ما بنسميها بنقدر طبعا بتبقى أقل في فكرة تركيز الصور، ولكن مميزاتها أنها سهل يتم تغييرها كمان. So how often should we change our lens?
So with contact lenses, there are a couple different replacement schedules, and it just depends on how the lens is manufactured. There are some lenses manufactured to be changed once a year, some once a quarter, once a month, and then the most common lens we actually use now in terms of soft lenses are lenses that you change every day.
Okay.
So daily lenses have advantages in that every time you put that lens on, it is a clean, sterile lens. It's going to be very comfortable, and it's going to have slightly lower chances of developing eye infections.
كمان دكتور وانج بيقول انه العدسات الطبيه اللي هو بيفضلها واللي بتستخدم كتير جدا الايام دي هي العدسات الطبيه اللي بتتغير بشكل يومي وبنحطها في المحلول بتاعها لانه مهم جدا ان احنا نلبسها نظيفه كل يوم. Do you prefer that we can sleep with our contact lenses or no?
Usually not, because usually when people say they're sleeping with their contact lenses, that means they're wearing them 24 hours a day. And that's just a lot of time to have a lens on your eye. I usually recommend to my patients, take your lenses out an hour or two before you go to sleep. That way your eyes are still open, but there's no contact lens covering it.
Okay. سألته كمان إذا بتفضل يعني إنه الناس تنام بالعدسات الطبية بتاعتها، قال لي لا، إنه يوجوالي بننصح البيشنتس أو بننصح كل المرضى اللي على عدسات طبية إن هم يشيلوا العدسات الطبية بتاعتهم ساعة ل2 قبل من ساعة ل2 قبل النوم بشكل عام. سألته كمان ايه هي عيوب العدسات الطبية بشكل عام، قال لي انه ليها عيوب اهمهم على الاطلاق هو فكرة الانفكشن او العدوى بتاع العين، انه لو انت مش بتحطها في المحلول بتاعها بشكل طبيعي هيحصل عدوى في عينك. فمهم جدا ان احنا نحافظ على العدسات او نظافتها بشكل كبير جدا عشان ما تنقلش العدوى بشكل او باخر للعين، لانه قال لي كمان انه ممكن يحصل سكار، والسكار دي تخليك ما تشوفش لفترة طويلة جدا او بتفقد فعلا جزء كبير من نظرك، لانه كتير جدا او احيانا العدوى دي بتبقى فعلا ممكن تفقدك النظر بشكل كبير جدا. So anything you want to teach us today about contact lenses before we go to LASIK surgery?
So I think the most important thing about contact lenses is follow the instructions of your doctor. Your doctor will tell you how long it's appropriate to wear your contact lenses, how frequently you should replace them, and then how to take care of them. That's probably the best thing you can do for your eyes.
Okay. Most of the questions we got today with myopia was about LASIK surgery.
Understandably.
So I think it's same at your practice too, right? That's
lots of questions about LASIK for sure.
Okay. So before we start about LASIK surgery, can we go back to the anatomical slide that we have about the eye and tell us what you're doing with the laser? Like how do you correct the refractive error in the laser? Which part do you play around with laser and all that stuff?
Absolutely.
If we can go back and use slide 2. So you want to let us know what happened, like how do you use the laser to correct the myopia here?
Absolutely. I don't personally do LASIK, but LASIK happens all on the surface of the cornea. That's where all the action is. That's the very left-hand side, that clear shell on the surface of the eye. And LASIK is the most common laser procedure for correction of myopia right now. What happens is, first a laser is used to create a thin flap of the cornea. That flap is moved out of the way, and then a second laser is used to actually apply your correction to the cornea.
Okay.
Once that's done, the flap is put back in its place. No sutures are necessarily. It will heal down by itself over the next few weeks.
So they use 2 different kind of laser.
That's right. One to make the flap, and then one to actually apply your correction.
So they don't touch the lens. It's all about the cornea.
It's all about the cornea because that's the strongest refracting component of focus in the eye. The lens does allow us to adjust focus somewhat, but the cornea is where most of the light bending takes place. And the good thing about that is when you're working on the cornea, because it bends light so strongly, you don't have to make very large changes to correct myopia. You can make very, very small changes and fully correct a patient's vision.
Okay. Do they wear eyeglasses or contact lenses after LASIK, or it's enough by itself?
Most people will be able to function without any glasses or contact lenses for quite a bit of time after LASIK. Eventually, as older age sets in, or if you have further vision changes, you may find that you're using glasses or contact lenses part of the time again, but usually it's not as much as before your surgery.
الحقيقة هنتكلم على الأوبشن الثالث، اتكلمنا على النظارات الطبية، اتكلمنا كمان على العدسات اللاصقة. ثالث جزء هنتكلم عليه النهارده اللي هو الليزك، والحقيقة معظم الأسئلة جات لنا على القصة دي بالذات. واضح إنه زي حتى ما دكتور وانج قال معظم حتى البيشنتس بتوعه بيسألوه على نفس القصة أكتر حاجة، الليزك واللي شاغل الناس وإزاي بيتعمل. فأنا قلت إن إحنا الأول نوري حضراتكم إيه اللي بيحصل في فكرة الليزك دي. لو جبنا السلايد تاني بتاع العين هتشوفوا حضراتكم الكورنيا أو القرنية اللي هي موجودة في أقصى الشمال، الجزء الشفاف اللي موجود في أقصى الشمال. زي ما دكتور وانج قال إنه الجزء ده مظبوط كده. بيستخدم نوعين من الليزر في عملية الليزك لتصليح النظر أو الإبصار. الجزء الأولاني بيسموه الليزر القاطع، وبيعمل زي بنقطع جزء صغير في الكورنيا. والنوع الثاني من الليزر هو اللي بيصلح أي ريفراكشن موجود في الكورنيا. زي ما قال مفيش أي خياطة، مفيش أي حاجة، ولكن نوعين الليزر. بيستخدم نوعين من الليزر اللي بيبقى موجود في عملية الليزك بشكل عام. واحد بيعمل القطع الأولاني في القرنية، والتاني بيصلح كل المشاكل اللي موجودة في الانعكاسات أو بتعمل مشاكل في الانعكاس وبتسبب قصر النظر. سألته كمان سؤال مهم جدا: هل الناس بتضطر للبس عدسات لاصقة أو نظارات بعد عملية الليزك اللي بنستخدمها في إصلاح قصر النظر؟ قال لي لا، إنه في معظم الأوقات الناس مش بتحتاج تستخدم أي نظارات أو أي لينسز عموما بعد عملية الليزك أو عملية الليزر لتصليح قصر النظر. So who would be a good candidate for the LASIK surgery?
Good candidates for LASIK are folks who have a very stable prescription. So I'm a little bit more conservative. I like to see a patient have about 2 years worth of time where their prescription hasn't changed very much.
Okay.
Because LASIK is not adjustable, it's just a one-time procedure, we want to know that we're treating someone whose eyes are probably not going to change very much in the next few years, otherwise the surgery is kind of a waste. Okay. So someone who's got stable prescription and generally healthy eyes, someone who has very dry eyes to begin with, or possible irregular shapes to their cornea would not be very good candidates for LASIK.
So dry eyes or irregular shapes of the cornea, you tell them it's partially contraindicated in those LASIK surgeries.
Yeah.
But again, is there any magic number that we can start LASIK right away? Like you told us
question.
Up to 3 to 6, 6 to 9.
Yeah. So nowadays we can actually correct a fair amount of myopia with LASIK. If it's over 10, I think there are other technologies that may work a little bit better now, but even up to 10 diopters of myopia is correctable. If your myopia is very low, a half or maybe 3/4 of a diopter, a lot of times these are folks who only wear their glasses 10–20% of the day, and so...
And cosmetically most of the time, because they like it.
Yeah, or to look good.
Right.
And so we don't always recommend a permanent treatment for something that they only need part of the time, really.
Okay. الحقيقة برضو سألت دكتور وانج هل في أرقام معينة للليزر، لأنه بنسمع على خرافات كتير إنه مش عارف ابتداء من 3–4 درجات الليزك بيبقى كويس. قال لي لا، الليزك بينفع في أي درجة من درجات قصر النظر بشكل عام، بس ما بنحبوش أو ما بنحبش نعمله لو في حد عنده 10 درجات قصر نظر، وده بيبقى الحقيقة يعني رقم كبير قوي في مشاكل قصر النظر بشكل عام. كمان نقطة مهمة جدا لازم حضراتكم تعرفوها عن الليزك، انه زي ما انا قلت انه بعده ما بيبقاش فيه يعني نظارات او عدسات لاصقة. كمان الناس اللي بتحب تلبس نظاراتها بشكل تجميلي، اللي عندها نص درجة او 3/4 درجة او بتاع، قال لي ممكن الناس دي نستخدم الليزك معاها بشكل عام. So I have a question here on Facebook. 4 diopters, myopia, and 3.5 degrees of astigmatism. He's asking, do you think LASIK would work with astigmatism and myopia in general?
Yes, LASIK works very well with both myopia and astigmatism. And how much correction you have or you can have through LASIK is kind of case by case.
Okay.
Because during the procedure, as the correction is applied, part of your corneal tissue is actually being removed. And so by the end of the procedure, the surgeon needs to know that what's left over is going to be safe and it's going to last you the rest of your life. So the higher the prescription is, myopia plus astigmatism together, the more tissue that needs to be removed. That means the more tissue you need to have to begin with. So that's one of the very important measurements that needs to be taken before you have any kind of LASIK procedure.
السؤال اللي جالنا من صامويل بيسأل صامويل عطلة بيسأل على إذا هو عنده 4 درجات، بيقول إن أنا عندي 4 درجات من قصر النظر، 3.5 درجات من الاستجماتيزم، وكان بيسأل إذا الليزك ينفع وبيصلح. فزي ما دكتور وانج قال إنه هيشتغل كويس في الحالة دي وهيقدر يصلح ده بشكل كبير جدا. Success rate of LASIK, like how do you see it successful so far?
I've seen it be very successful. So I've had LASIK myself, actually. I had LASIK about, maybe 15 years ago.
So since you had LASIK, side effects of LASIK too.
Okay, so the main side effect that people notice is their eyes will be more dry. Okay. My eyes, for example, are a little bit more dry than they were prior to LASIK. I am 15 years older now, and so maybe that has something to do with it too. But generally, that's why we want to find out if someone has very dry eyes to begin with, because after LASIK surgery, it will be a little bit worse.
Okay.
It's treatable. You can treat
That's
dry
my question.
eye with.
Yeah, how do you overcome the dry eyes after LASIK?
As long as it's not very severe, then usually with artificial tears, patients can be still very comfortable and very functional.
Okay. الحقيقة كمان سألته على مشاكل الليزك بشكل عام، قال لي واحدة من أهم مشاكل الليزك بشكل كبير جدا هو جفاف العين. الناس اللي عندهم جفاف عين بشكل عام، لو حضرتك عندك ده قبل الليزك الموضوع ده هيبقى أسوأ بعد الليزك. وزي ما هو قال فكرة إن احنا عفوا نتغلب على مشاكل جفاف العين، فكرة الدموع الصناعية، ودي بتبقى موجودة في كل الفارماسيز على الشلف، مش محتاج ليها أي روجيتا طبية، وبالتالي بتقدر تستخدمها. ففكرة الدموع الصناعية بتبقى مهمة جدا جدا فيها إن احنا نصلح فكرة الجفاف اللي بيحصل بعد عملية الليزك. Is there any other kind of complication or side effects from LASIK surgeries in general?
You know, anytime you have surgery, it's not possible to predict exactly how you will heal. And so sometimes there are complications during the healing process. Today we have a very comprehensive and thorough screening that you go through before you have LASIK done. And as long as you pass all that criteria, the rate of success is very high. It is above 95% of good LASIK outcomes. Okay. And so my advice is just to make sure you hit all those screening steps before.
And take all the precautions after the surgery.
Absolutely, absolutely.
زي ما سمعتوا دكتور وانج قال فكرة انه نجاح عملية الليزك بيعدي في نسب 95% في تصليح مشاكل قصر النظر بشكل عام. ف 95% نسبة يعني كبيرة جدا وكويسة جدا، زي ما كمان بتتبعوا فكرة نصايح الدكتور بعد العملية. فقال ان معظم العمليات دي بتبقى ناجحة جدا. تاني لو يعني انا كده حاولت اجاوب معظم الاسئلة اللي جات لنا على عمليات الليزك سيرجري بشكل عام يعني شغلها على فكرة قصر النظر وقد ايه بتساعد فكرة قصر النظر في التصليح. كده نكون اتكلمنا مع حضراتكم على النظارات الطبية، اتكلمنا على العدسات الطبية، اتكلمنا كمان على فكرة الليزك اللي شغلة العالم كله، والحقيقة اللي معظم أسئلة حضراتكم جات لنا على الليزك سيرجري النهاردة. هنتكلم على آخر تكنيك في تصليح قصر النظر اللي موجود في العالم كله بشكل كبير جدا وجديد جدا اللي هو الأورثوكيراتولوجي. So the last option in our options I think is orthokeratology.
Yes.
What's orthokeratology?
Orthokeratology is, it's kind of like braces, but not for your teeth, it's for your eyes.
Okay.
And what we do is we use a mold, a device. It looks just like a contact lens. So sometimes I just kind of like a contact lens for simplicity.
Okay.
And patients wear this lens. So this is one time that I'll say, wear your lenses when you sleep.
Okay.
But that's the only time you wear it.
So you wear the orthokeratology device even during sleep?
Only during sleep. So what you do is you put the molds on right before you go to sleep. You sleep for hopefully 7 to 8 hours. When you wake up, you take them off.
Okay.
And what happened during the night is those molds have reshaped the cornea. So that structure where LASIK works is also the same structure where orthokeratology works. It reshapes the cornea, and again, because it's such a strong focusing structure, very small changes will correct your vision. So when the molds come off, the patients realize they can actually see.
Okay.
They're not wearing any lenses, but their vision is clear.
So basically, you're reshaping the cornea.
Exactly.
Okay. الحقيقة التكنيك ده من الحاجات اللي أنا توقفت عندها وإحنا بنحضر الحلقة، لأنه تكنيك نازل جديد وغريب شوية. سألت دكتور وانج إيه هو فكرة الأورثوكيراتولوجي بشكل عام في علاج تصليح قصر النظر. الحقيقة هو قربها لنا بشكل كويس جدا. عارفين حضراتكم طقم تقويم الأسنان، هي فكرة تقويم الأسنان ولكن بنسميها تقويم القرنية. سنس انه القرنية هي اللي بتبقى عاملة المشكلة كلها في فكرة قصر النظر او الشكل بتاع القرنية لما بيتغير او بيحصل له ستريتش زي ما احنا قلنا، او يعني اي مشكلة بتحصل في القرنية بشكل عام هي اللي بتعمل مشاكل سواء طول النظر او قصر النظر. فالناس فكرت قالت انه طيب احنا لو القرنية دي شكلها زي فكرة الاسنان طالعة لبره شوية او حصل الستريتش ده، ليه ما نعملهاش تقويم؟ فهو ده الأورثوكيراتولوجي، التكنيك اللي نازل في العالم كله. زي ما شرحت لحضراتكم فكرة تقويم الأسنان هي عدسة، بتبقى عدسة ولكن صلبة شوية، لأنه بتعمل ريشيبينج أو بتغير شكل الكورنيا بشكل عام أو شكل القرنية عشان ترجعها للكيرف الطبيعي وبالتالي زي ما احنا شرحنا لحضراتكم في الأول الصورة تقع على الشبكية بالظبط. فهي عاملة فكرة زي طقم تقويم الأسنان، عدسة صلبة بتتحط فقط أثناء النوم عشان تغير شكل القرنية زي ما احنا اتفقنا. وزي ما قال دكتور وانج إنه البيشنت لما بينام ال8 ساعات دول بتتحط وقت النوم فقط وبتتشال أول ما نصحى من النوم. Same questions. Who would be your good candidate for orthokeratology?
Good candidates for orthokeratology are generally people who have a risk for increasing myopia.
Okay.
So myopia, there are kind of two problems that we face. One is obviously the unclear vision of distance objects, but the other one is the medical complications that might come on later on as your myopia increases. So orthokeratology is great in correcting both of those. It provides clear vision for people who are not seeing well enough in the distance, and it also takes away that stimulus for the eye to continue growing over time.
So, like worsening, is there any magic numbers? Like after that number, you try orthokeratology, or?
What we're finding is because the statistics show that younger kids have such a high risk of progressing, oftentimes we will start orthokeratology, or I will start orthokeratology if I see they have about a half diopter of increase after 6 months.
Okay. So when we say progressive myopia, like what's your definition for progressive myopia?
That's kind of what the scale that I tend to use. Of course, we want to look at the parents too, how old the child is, what their visual habits are. But if I see someone who's progressing by 0.5 diopters after 6 months, there's a pretty good chance that that child is going to become a moderate to high myope over time.
الحقيقة التكنيك اللي أنا كنت بقول لحضراتكم عليه الأورثوكيراتولوجي أو إعادة تقويم الكورنيا أو إعادة تشكيل شكل القرنية بشكل عام، زي ما احنا قلنا هو فكرة تقويم السنان. سألت دكتور وانج إيه هو المريض اللي ممكن تحطه على التكنيك ده، قال لي لو بيحصل إنه قصر النظر بيتطور بشكل كبير جدا. سألته ايه هي فكرة او مقياس التطور الكبير من وجهة نظرك، قال لي لو البيشنت بيسوق نص درجة كل 6 شهور. يعني مثلا لو حضرتك عندك او اطفالنا عندهم درجتين مثلا من قصر النظر، وبعد 6 شهور بقوا 2.5 درجة، بعد سنة بقوا 3 درجات. لو بيحصل التطور السريع ده في قصر النظر نص درجة كل 6 شهور، فالأورثوكيراتولوجي بيبقى اوبشن كويس قوي لتصحيح قصر النظر بالنسبه لهم. Any side effects or contraindication for orthokeratology?
Yes, because these orthokeratology molds are worn very similarly to contact lenses, they carry those same risks for infection as well. So when choosing patients, we definitely want someone who's going to be able to take care of the molds and minimize any complications they're going to have from infection.
So I would expect like stable eyeglasses prescription, they're not good candidates for orthokeratology.
They can still do orthokeratology. They won't get the benefit of the control of the myopia because they don't need it. They're already stable. But there are some people who don't want to wear any glasses or contact lenses during the day, and perhaps they're not ready to have surgery yet either. Either their vision is changing mildly, or some people just don't want to have any surgery on their eyes. Orthokeratology work really well in allowing them to see during the daytime without any eyewear.
Your best candidate is progressive myopia patients.
Yeah, that's our most common patient in our practice.
زي ما سألت دكتور وانج عن فكرة كمان الأورثوكيراتولوجي أو تقويم أو إعادة شكل الكورنيا، قال لي أحسن كانديديتس دول زي ما أنا قلت لحضراتكم هي الناس اللي بتسوق فكرة القصر النظر بتاعها نص درجة كل 6 شهور بشكل عام، دول أحسن كانديديتس. الحقيقة اتكلمنا غطينا تقريبا معظم طرق العلاج بتاع الميوبيا. Thank you Dr. Wang, it was very informative and we hope to see you in White Coat later.
Thank you very much.
بشكر حضراتكم على حسن الاستماع. النهارده اتكلمنا على مشكلة قصر النظر واتكلمنا على كل أنواع العلاج اللي موجودة في العالم دلوقتي لعلاج المشكلة دي. بسرعة أنا عارف الحلقة الجاية مهمة جدا لأنه كتير جدا من الناس بعتت اتكلمت على فرط الحركة وقلة الانتباه أو ADHD، فهنشوفكم السبت الجاي. معانا ضيف مميز جدا 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 للحلقة دي، فهستنى كل أسئلتكم أثناء الأسبوع. بشكركم تاني على حسن الاستماع ونشوفكم على خير إن شاء الله وحلقة جديدة من وايت كوت الأسبوع الجاي.